Hey team, hope this, looks like we're on now. Coach Jake here. Hope you're doing awesome. Got a nice little video for you today. Well, I hope it's a nice video. We're going to be talking about 5 tips for busting through a plateau. So I've had this conversation a few times this week where people are working hard, not quite getting the result they feel like they should be, and this is all very normal. Okay, because if it was easy, everyone would be fit and healthy and looking great, etc., etc. So there's 5 things we're going to talk about today, and we're going to skip the obvious things, right? So if you're trashing yourself, eating terribly, never training, etc., etc., you need to be exercising more, eating better, yada yada. Yeah, we know that stuff. But assuming you're doing what you think is pretty good, this is for you. Okay, so 5 tips to bust through a plateau. Now, the first one is sleep. Okay, so most people underestimate the effect sleep has on their results. Okay, the effect on our energy levels and vitality, etc., is really obvious, but the effects on our fat loss results, strength results, muscle building, body composition, etc., are less obvious, but are really, really true, real, whatever, right? They makes a big difference. And I've seen people train super hard, not get the results they want, then go on holidays, not train, not eat well, etc., but they sleep well, and they come back and they've lost body fat. Okay, so this is for many different reasons, but the number one reason is the effect it has on your hormones. Okay, so when we sleep well, our hormones are able to reset, get back into balance that they should be. We tend to make better food decisions because of that. We tend to get less cravings. Our stress hormones are lower down, which enables us to burn body fat better. We tend to be more motivated, so we can work out more, we recover better from our workouts, etc., etc. Testosterone goes up, which puts us in a better fat burning state. So sleep is incredibly important. So at the end of your life, you are not going to wish that you watch more Netflix every night. So just bringing that bedtime forward half an hour or whatever it is, an hour, whatever, and just being consistent on that is huge. Okay, so if that's an area for you to improve on, that's the most common one I see all the time. People sacrificing their sleep, and not only for your fat loss and strength and achieving your goals, but just for your health and longevity, for your brain health, right now and long term. Sleep is incredibly important. Tip number 2 is incidental activity. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed a lot recently, especially with people working from home, is they're not moving their bodies during the day. They're doing a big workout in the morning or at night, and the rest of the time they're pretty much sitting on their butt, getting up to get a drink, go to lunch, which is 5 meters away, etc., etc. So we're simply not designed to do that. There's heaps of research on this, but we're designed to be moving throughout the day. So that means, if you are working from home, it maybe you set an alarm and you get up and you do 20 squats once an hour, or at lunch, after you have your lunch, you do a few laps around the block, or whatever it is, right? We need to move. We need to move. So that will have an effect on our hormones, how we digest our food, the amount of insulin we produce or don't produce, which affects our ability to burn fat, affects our hunger hormones, etc., etc. So you must move throughout the day. You can't just do one workout and the rest of the time sit on your butt and expect to get great results. Not only the extra energy expenditure, which is a good thing, but the effect that it has on our hormones is often misunderstood. Okay? Number 3, my favorite word in the whole wide world these days is consistency. Okay, so when most people start talking about their food, they say, yeah, no, I'm doing good with my food. Now, good is not a yes or no question, all right? It's a how good. How good for your goals, how consistently. So usually when we start digging in deeper, it's not as consistent as it is in the fairy tale that we tell ourselves, because we get to the weekend and we do this and we do that and we have a party, and then the next day is not so good, and then that carries on into next week, and then we have this for dinner and that for breakfast, which isn't quite just because mum told us it was healthy 30 years ago doesn't mean it's the right thing for you to be having for you to achieve your goals now. So being consistent, all right, not only Monday to Friday, but on the weekends too, because a lot of people, even in a couple of, say, cheat meals, go so crazy over the top that it ends up derailing their whole week. Okay, so you do need to be mindful of that. Not to say you can't ever have a treat or whatever, but there's a difference between treating yourself or a special occasion and just going crazy. Okay, so number 4 is the 10% rule. The 10% rule. So basically, when we train, we are giving our body a stimulus to respond to. Okay. Now, most people, when they start training, it's quite challenging, right? Because this is a new thing. Our body's not used to it. Our body adapts and responds, etc., etc. But then after a while, what I've experienced over the 14 years that I've been coaching people and working with people is people get comfortable with the level that they're working at. Okay, that means their body's no longer being challenged. Their body's used to the work. Okay, so point 5, we'll talk a little bit about this as well. But the 10% rule is simple. I like to ask people, do you think you could work 10% harder in your workouts? And almost always the answer is yes, right? That means doing 11 reps when you usually stop at 10, all right? That means just working that little bit harder, throughout the boxing round or whatever it is, 10%. We can all do 10%, all right? And what that does is just breaks through that comfort zone that you've been working at in terms of, something that you've gotten used to, and it challenges our body again. Okay, and our body is forced to respond. And when it repairs from working out, the harder we work in our workout, the more we have to adapt, the more energy that takes our body to respond, the more likely we are to have strength gains, to have muscle gains, to have body fat reductions. Okay, so that's really, really important. 10% rule. Can you work 10% harder? And the answer is always yes. You don't have to do more, but do at a higher intensity is often the case. So, and a good example of this is if your trainer's ever walked around and said, hey, instead of those 6 kilo dumbbells, you're doing that comfortably, you can do 7, all right? And you say, oh, okay. And then you do it and you realize, oh yeah, I can do that, right? So you've actually just gone up like 14% or something like that, right? So generally speaking, we can always do more. Doesn't always mean more weight. It might mean slowing down that rep like it's supposed to do, a 3-second eccentric, not letting it drop in 2, all right? Those little things challenge the body, give us a stimulus to respond to. Okay. Number 5 is a goal switch or a short-term change. Okay, so again, we're talking about stimulus and response in point number 4. If you've been training the same style of training for a long time with the same goal, so let's say your goal has been fat loss, so you've been focusing on your high intensity sessions, going for walks, doing all that kind of stuff, and you're getting great results, and now those results have stopped, okay? Often, to resensitize yourself to that style of training, the fat burning training, you want to do the opposite for a period of time. So for 1 month or 2 months, even better, focus on strength, focus on muscle building, okay? Focus on lifting the weights, going to the strength sessions, and concentrating on that for a period of time. Okay, and then when you go back to the high intensity, a couple of things are going to happen. One is now you have more muscle mass, which means you're going to burn more energy, and that means burn more body fat, because muscle is metabolically active tissue. Okay, which means it burns energy every second of the day. Your metabolism, your basal metabolic rate is higher. Okay, so you burn more fat. Well, secondly, the high intensity training will be new again to your body once you go back to it in 8 weeks time. So something again you're not used to, your body has to change, has to adapt, and you'll get some more faster improvements. Okay, So generally it's a 3-to-1 rule. You want to train, 3 times as much for your actual goal, and then 1 time for every 3 something completely different to sensitize yourself. So in a perfect world, we train, for example, 12 weeks to our goal, 4 weeks to something completely different. Most of us don't live in the perfect world. We're trying to fit in what we can around everything else, but this is something to bear in mind if you've been doing the same thing for a long time. And the same principle applies to our nutrition. So if you've been following the same nutrition plan more or less for a long period of time, it was working, now it's not working so much, time to change. Common example is someone's been low carb for a while, and generally speaking that's what you should be doing. Right, so you're low carbing, you're getting great results, and the results slow down. For a 4 to 6 week period, I would recommend you ramp up those carbs again, not in a crazy way, just a bit, week 1, a bit more week 2, a bit more week 3. Now you're probably not going to lose body fat during this 4 to 6 week block, but you are going to resensitize your body to the low carb that was working before, so it's likely to work again. Okay, so your body's getting used to the carbs again, you're maintaining, feeling good, etc., etc. Then we remove them again, and you've got some more improvements, some more quick wins there in the bank for you, ready to go. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. There are certainly other things to do. Supplements is a big one as well to help us bust through plateaus. So we have different strategies around that. If fat loss is the goal, for example, carnitine and fish oil, there's a great protocol we use, which you can use for 4 to 12 weeks to speed up your fat loss, especially if you're someone who is a little bit insulin resistant, which is many people in modern day society. So anyhow, how do you know that, by the way? If you're a bit overweight, it means you're a bit insulin resistant, so that can be a good strategy for that. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, because I do believe I've been ranting on for a while now. So any questions, send them through. Happy to help. I hope you're having a great day, and be awesome. Bye bye.